He came dancing across the water with his big Belgian guns, searching for that new gig in the palace in Govan. On the board sat Jamesy Bisgrove in his cocoa leaves and pearls, and jargon he often havered to monetize the world. And we know she's lived elsewhere, but she loves us till this day. And we got her back in the trophy room after Hampden on Sunday. Claymont. Hello, folks. How you doing? This is your Gersnet midweek preview pods coming to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering. My name is Alec Anderson, and I am talking to you ahead of Rangers. Is it the league? Is it St Johnstone? I can't. You need to get out your. You need to snap out of it. This is lunchtime. It's after lunchtime, probably by the time you're watching this video. You need to get yourself in the shower like Captain Willard when the guys arrive to take him to see Harrison Ford in Apocalypse Now and tell him that he's got to get into the jungle again. He's got to go back into the jungle. This stuff with the ticket allocation is just the start of Colonel Kurtz, Peter Lawwell's dirty tricks. We need to get as much Agent Orange into our system. And that starts as possible, and that starts with 3 points against St Johnstone in the SPFL Premiership. 48 kick-off at Ibrox tonight, Wednesday, the 20th of December 2023, Wednesday, hump day. You just get past Wednesday. That's you past lunchtime now. You're in the down slope of the week. It's heading towards the weekend. Tomorrow is the darkest day of the year, 21st of December, shortest day of the year. We get past that with 3 points in the bank, and it's all plain sailing in late nights. Summer practically come Friday of this week, and we want to make sure it's 2 points. It's 2 points between us and Celtic, and we are going to Parkhead because bad things are happening to them. They're starting to fall out with each other, even more spectacularly than they have been already this season. There's Celtic fans saying that Peter Lawwell is part of a pro-Rangers conspiracy because they want to make the league more competitive, Celtic, because that'll give them more money. The guy's going to splash the cash in January. We need to get in there and take ultimate advantage of this. And I really don't have time for you being totally unpresbyterian, celebrating you were doing on Sunday nights, all that kind of singing and dancing and worshipping of idols. That's idolatrous stuff with James Tavernier and his captain's armband and all the goals he scored in big games. I don't get any time for that. And the graven images, the engraving of our name in the wee base at the bottom of the League Cup. See, it's 2 bases now. It's quite Stanley Cup, quite Copa Libertadores, getting all the names below it, and it's a bit like the Scottish Cup. It's Victorian, it's more kind of regal, isn't it? But they have that thing where Queen's Park have got their name in the Scottish Cup more than anybody else. One of those trivia questions because their names actually, they won it 10 times before 1900. Queen's Park, still the club to have won the Scottish Cup more than anybody else outside the old firm. But the base is wooden, it's much nicer, but they've got the little, other plaques on it for the other teams who won it subsequently to engrave their names. Not going to happen in the League Cup. That started in 1946-47 season, the youngest of the 3 major domestic trophies. Rangers have got their name all over that, all the bases touched with the League Cup. But no, you need to stop thinking about that League Cup. It's about focusing on tonight. The manager in his pre-match presser was talking about how it's getting back into the marathon, and that sounds a bit dispiriting after the high we've been on the last few games. But what he's doing is he's already on it. He's getting in there, and he's letting the people know that 3 points tonight is only as important as the 3 points we could have won in August, or 3 points we could win in May, because he knows the chance is there tonight that we could slip up. He doesn't want the hysteria starting again. I'm just checking in with you really because at Christmas time, there's a lot of etiquette going on. The Christmas night out, is it formal wear? Is it casual? Is it smart casual? Should I send a card to the people that don't send us cards? I'm allowed to play with my Xbox during the King's Speech? That kind of thing. You need to check it. Are we booing tonight? If we drop points tonight, are we back to the booing? It seems a bit soon. I don't really know how that's going to work, because we wanted rid of Michael Beale with the booing, but we booed him off the park against Aris Limassol. In the next game, we end up finishing top of our group. We had a historic win in Spain. And the last time we won in Spain, John Gregg was the captain. So the John Gregg Loyal was at Dumbarton, who we get in the next round of the Scottish Cup. Loyal Dumbarton flag was flying up in the corner, the top tier of the Benito Villamarín. And then on Sunday, having watched the television, get back in watching it in the television, just right down at the front of the stand I was in during the final on Sunday was a big Jim Forrest loyal. I don't know where Jim Forrest loyal was from. Was it from Jim Forrest's hometown? I don't know, sorry, but I just saw the Jim Forrest loyal part of that flag that was in front. Jim Forrest, a man who scored 6 goals in the League Cup final in the space of a year. I just thought it's absolutely beautiful, the last 2 games, and the high that I've been feeling the last 2 games. How can I ask Rangers, how can any of us ask Rangers to get their feet back in the ground and get refocused on this league campaign after the joy we've all been feeling? It's a physical thing, folks. I have to say, it's definitely St Johnstone at Ibrox preview pod. This is no way me just basking in the glory of the League Cup win again, because we want to get as many basking in the glory of the League Cup win pods out as possible before Rangers get a chance to ruin any kind of buzz by slipping up tonight. But it's, you know what it's like. You get something you need to get out your system. You got, not what I'm saying, guys. You get a kind of physical thing you need to do before you can properly relax. Maybe a Sunday morning when the mood's just right. You know what I'm saying? And then once it's done, once the deed is done, you don't want to just get up and start going about your business. You want to sit there and bask and wallow in it. So you sit in the toilet pan for a bit longer, maybe read your paper and have a scroll through your phone. But you don't want to just stand up and get straight back on with life. How can we expect the Rangers players to be getting wired back in tonight in the same way? I know, you want to be really anal about it. It's their job and winning the league's more important, but you've got to admit, Sunday was major. For me, it's a bit like if a striker's going through on goal. The striker's going through on goal and he does that thing where he's trying to chip it. He's going one way, but wants to slip the ball the other way, maybe chip it to the back post, lob the goalkeeper or something like that. But his momentum, his physical momentum is carrying him away from the ball. What he should really do, by all accounts, is just stop dead as soon as he makes contact with the ball. He should stop dead and head back towards the ball so he's ready to, knock in a rebound if it goes back off the post or the keeper gets a touch to it or something like that. But no striker on earth can do that. No striker on earth can do it. Maybe Gerd Muller, but no striker on earth usually does that, because to get the shot away properly, to do it to the best of your ability, you need to put all your focus on the moment. You can't think about what happens after. So players always carry away in the opposite direction of the ball when they have a shot like that. And Rangers are the same just now. They put everything into winning in Seville and then again on Saturday. And I think it's no coincidence, number one. There is a coincidence, but it's not a coincidence that Rangers, the last two major trophies we have won, have come 3 days after us having an epic Europa League game in the city of Seville. We lost the final, obviously, in 2022, but it was still, the whole world is watching you. We came damn close to winning the thing. It was still a major moment for our football club. And it's like you go to Hampden on the Saturday it was then, after having played the final on the Wednesday night against Eintracht, and you're thinking, are we going to have it in our legs? But it's like there's a surfeit of emotion, there's a surfeit of buzz amongst the players, and they need another major game to kind of soak that up. And they went, and won the Scottish Cup against Hearts. And then this time, last Thursday, our first ever win against Spanish opposition in Spain. Absolutely amazing game. A team who'd just drawn with Real Madrid the previous match, were unlucky not to beat Real Madrid. We come back, and there's a cup final at Hampden waiting for us. Like rock stars, basically, who end up doing serious cocaine and putting televisions through windows after concerts because they need some way to come down properly from the buzz of performing to Wembley Stadium or whatever. Rangers went out to Hampden Park, and it was just exactly what we needed, a major Scottish final against Aberdeen, and we got that one. This is so different. This is just bam, back to the grind, back to the proper domestic stuff, the routine stuff. And I think that's why the manager was emphasising that. I think he's basically saying there'll be plenty more 3 points to win, but for us, get to within 2 points of Celtic, let them know we're coming to Parkhead. We could go above you by winning at Parkhead. If not, there's another game in hand for us to get played next year. Celtic are not playing tonight, they're not playing this midweek. They've got Livingston at home, and the team at the bottom of the league, they've got them at home on Saturday, and half the Celtic support will not be thinking, oh, that's 3 points in the bag for us. They'll be thinking, this could be a total disaster, and we need to win tonight to increase that disaffection amongst the support of our nearest rivals. There's no bitterness there. It's just, it just needs must. It's just practicalities I'm thinking about. But I don't know, as I say, how I can ask the Rangers players to do that. I was last week when Todd Cantwell, the last Thursday, 6 days ago, in the build-up, the day of that game in Seville, we find out Todd Cantwell hasn't made the trip. This is to go on top of Danilo getting his, whatever happened to his knee or whatever it is, it's got him out until April of next year. My focus was on Tom Taylor, the performance coach from Brighton and Hove Albion. We need to get him in as quickly as possible and sort out these players, sort out the physical problem, the fitness problem that was obviously going to cost us the Europa League place. We were going to drop into the Conference League, and that was going to be a big demerit against the manager straight away. And then Aberdeen had been starting to find a bit of form, as well as having played really well against us in the 2 previous meetings in the league this season. There's a chance we're going to do it yet again, mess up in the League Cup yet again. And I was a total downer. I was listening to speed metal, heavy metal, hard rock. It was all Motorhead, Led Zeppelin stuff. I needed to. It was 2 minutes away from putting on some Slipknot just to kind of prop me up, make me feel like a plastic sort of machismo, just to keep me going, because the whole world was falling to pieces, and we won. We won in Seville, and then we won on Sunday. And it's just been like Neil Young, John Martin, folk classics, California, West Coast dreaming. It's just so chilled out. I'm happy. I feel serene. I don't look it. I know I'm a physical wreck, but I feel light. The 22 stone man is made to feel light by what we did on Sunday. How can I ask our players to go out there and turn it round again? I don't know how to explain it other than tell you. On Sunday morning, even after having won in Seville, St Johnstone were playing tonight. St Johnstone, straight away they make me think of Michael O'Halloran's one good game at Ibrox, which was for St Johnstone against us when they beat us 3-1 in the League Cup under Mark Warburton, third round, put us at the League Cup. Was it 2015-16? And who scored their only goal that night to make it respectable? James Tavernier. What a guy. But yeah, that was it. We're out the League Cup, and then we buy Michael O'Halloran to exacerbate things, to compound things, sorry. And then Motherwell got Motherwell on Christmas Eve. Motherwell, who beat us in that semi-final. Stephen Robinson was their manager. Pedro Caixinha was their soon-to-be-gone manager. There's like 40,000 at Ibrox on October Sunday, the League Cup semi-final, and they battered us, they bullied us off the park. Just humiliating. And it's the same thing on Sunday. We lose the final to Celtic 2019-20. We lose the final to Celtic in February this year. We lost that semi-final to Hibs. We lost the semi-final to Aberdeen. I was at all these games, and it's winter mostly. It's dark. It's dank. You're going out to Hampden, and I love the National Stadium. There's so much history. I love that ground, and it's just been becoming an absolute nightmare for me. And as you might know, thanks for the flowers, folks. Thanks for the wreaths and that you sent. I did have the man flu last week. Still get the tail end date here. I'm not through it, but I have phoned a funeral directors and told them to postpone my arrangements just now. But my wife says to me, I was meeting some pals for a few pints after the game on Sunday, win or lose. So I wasn't taking the car to Hampden, and I was just going to walk down to the underground, and then I usually just walk for Bridge Street all the way down to Hampden and Cart Road and what have you. It's just the easiest. And my wife was obviously feeling sorry for me, and she's like, "I'll give you a lift to the underground." I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And in the same breath, she says, "I'm just going to go for a wee walk first." This is Sunday morning. It's hours before I have to actually leave the house. And she mentioned she was going to the local shop, the Spar. It's 2 minutes from the corner, literally a 2-minute walk to get some bread. We're running out of bread. She just wanted a bit of fresh air on a Sunday morning. And she's like, "I'll give you a lift." And I'm like, "That's great. I'm just going to go to the shops." Like, "Oh, when are you coming back? When are you coming back for the shops? How long are you going to be?" And I'm kind of looking at her, and she's looking at me and going, "What the f is wrong with you?" And I'm like, I don't know. It's the League Cup. It's Rangers in the League Cup. I'd had enough. I'm done. I get to the underground, and I'm walking down, and it's peeing down. And I've got the big jacket on, because I knew it was raining, obviously, but it was creepily warm, so I'm sweating on the inside, I'm wetting the outside. I get all the way down there, you go over that bridge over the motorway, and you see the sign for the Samaritans, and I'm thinking, I might check back in with you boys later on. And I get down to Hampden, I thought, oh, Somerville Drive, thank God. Fat man doesn't need any more hills to climb up. No, how Hampden's like a couple of hills intersecting that sits in a kind of bowl. But I'm on the north stand, so I just have to, after Cart Road, walk along Somerville Drive, and I'm looking, I knew I was in the north stand, so I'm like, turnstile 30, I'm 40, I was at the end, I'm at the Celtic end, I'm one block next to the actual Celtic end. I knew Aberdeen hadn't taken all their tickets, they never do, but I didn't know they didn't have any seats whatsoever in the north stand. I was basically almost behind the goal at the Celtic end. I go in to get myself a pie, because I've made sure I get there nice and early. I didn't have, I had my 4-course breakfast, but of course, I didn't have time for lunch, and I'm going to go for pints after. The game might go to extra time and penalties, so I get myself into the pie stall. And if you're in, that concourse, if you're in the north stand on Sunday, you maybe saw this happening No, brand spanking new. I think it was built for the Commonwealth Games. That's 10 years ago practically, but it still feels brand spanking new anyway. The concourse at the back of the North Stand where you get your pies and that. Big, roomy. I get in there about 2:05. Nobody else about. Three separate pie stalls. There's little shops, whatever, like superstores, pie superstores, glowing, hundreds of staff. They've got the LCD kind of menus, and they're showing you the Viaplay build up on a big screen above them. Just state of the art stuff, absolutely fantastic. No queue, but I'm just old stinking man. Despite how much I eat, I still need to feel kind of comfortable when I'm eating. So I'll get the jacket off because I need to dry out here. Sweating the inside. All the rain, and my jeans are soaking and what have you. So I just put my jacket over this kind of barrier thing that's between you and the windows looking out onto the back of the Celtic end, and I'm watching all the Aberdeen fans getting soaked and all that, and getting at the back of the Celtic end thinking, I hope he's have a terrible day. And when I turn back round, bang, 5 minutes later, massive queues at each of these pie stalls. I better get busy because I want my pies. I want my cup of tea. I did say pies plural. I want them eaten before I go and sit. I'm organised today. I'm going to get everything done properly. I get in the queue, and then the shutters come down. If you were there, you'll remember this happening. The shutters on the 3 different pie stalls all come down. There was folk who'd actually just ordered stuff and had paid for it and didn't have they're seeing their pies and their bovrils sitting at the till, and then a big steel portcullis comes down between them and their pies. I felt heart sorry for them, but no as sorry as I felt for myself, thinking, is that it? Is it shut? It's like 2:15. And the staff come out the wee side doors and they gave the pies and that to the folk who'd ordered their stuff and paid for their stuff. But I'm thinking, eventually, the fella manages taking a manual override. He gets the grill up on the pie stall that I was queued up for. I'm thinking, right, that's great. But then I looked over, and the other 2 pie stalls, their grill hadn't come back up. And the folks in the queues for the pie stalls were looking at my queue thinking, I'm getting in there. Was it Cheggers Place Pop? What was that game they did, if you're a child of the 70s, run around now. And all the Waynes would switch queues to go into whatever. That's what it was like. And I thought, I'm not going to get served here. This is going to turn into a riot. But eventually, I got myself to the front of the queue, very mannerly. Nobody was causing any problems. It was on my head. Get to the front of the queue. I knew exactly what I wanted by that point. I have a Mars bar, please. Lassie puts her hand in a dairy milk. No, it's a Mars bar, please. I know, gives me the dairy milk. No, a Mars bar duo that I was going to have. There, yeah, that's it. 4 times I had to ask her before she actually changed it to the thing I'd asked for. I mean, I like a dairy milk, but I wanted a Mars bar duo. I need to make sure I was getting things right this day. And then it was the pie. I got my tea, okay, and I can see on the readout on the other side of the till, it's letting you know that you have ordered a steak pie. You have paid for a steak pie. And she gives me, I'm like, that looks like a Scotch pie. I said, is that Scotch? Is that a steak pie, hen? Is that a steak pie? That's a steak pie. And she's looking at me and she's thinking, this boy knows, this isn't the first rodeo for this guy when it comes to the pies. He knows a pie when he sees one. And I'm like, I asked for a steak pie. And I think it was the word steak after having heard Scotch compared to it. She's like, all right. And she goes back and it's a drawer thing they've got these days. Just pulls out the drawer, like what you would usually be filled with cash, like something out a Freudian dream of mine. It's full of pies, the drawer, and there's 2 trays, like the trays of medals they put on the podium at the end of these games, and very much the steak pie is the gold and the Scotch pie is the silver. And eventually she took the Scotch pie back and she said, well, I like a Scotch pie, but I'd paid for a steak pie. It was a cup final, it was a special occasion. I wanted the Mars bar duo, a cup of tea and a steak pie. And I get that, and I was like, thanks very much. So I go, and there's no shelf anywhere. You get the shelves in the concourses or on Ibrox, Govan, Main Stand, whatever. You can go and sit your, just the eating and drinking areas. There's somewhere for you to sit your drink and your food while you're consuming it. Not a single one in that whole massive brand new state-of-the-art concourse. Not state-of-the-art at all, obviously. So I had to shove the pie in my pocket and shove the Mars bar in the other pocket, soaking pockets, while I got myself a cup of tea. I wanted to get some milk into that. And there's a boy who's been doing the same thing as me. It's right next to the bit where you sit your cup of tea down, to your pie. It's salt, pepper, milk, the full works, sugar and all that. For anything you might want to put in your stuff. And he's been watching the Aberdeen fans, and he turns around just at the exact moment I put the pie into my pocket. He goes, oh, is that you stocking up? Is that you filling up for the house? Aye, nice one. Meaning that I was stealing all the milks and stealing all the peppers and stealing all this. I was just putting milk in my tea. And the guy's having a laugh and all that, but it's happy his voice. And that way you immediately feel guilty. Everybody's looking at you thinking, what a sad get. Stealing everybody else's milk and pepper for freebies for his house. There's a nice pie I'm putting in my pocket. Me, I don't like to miss a pie. But I felt kind of terrible about that. It made me feel really bad. And then I snuck away and I found a wee bit. It's the Scotland shop, the Scotland team shop. That was very much closed. And there's a wee sill on that, and people were, there was a kind of secret, like people had discovered a bit they could sit their drinks on while they stuffed the pie and the chocolate down their throat and then finished it off with a cup of tea. I get down to my seat, which is right over, it was just like one block of the North Stand, and then it was the Celtic end, and the first section of the Celtic end was all full of stewards and police and segregation. It was like Aberdeen, terrible support they brought down them for that final. And I am 3 rows from the end of the aisle. You know what that's like? It means that everybody that's going out for a pee and a pie during the game has to get past you, and people who are coming in to find their seat and are always trying to get past you. But everybody's standing up anyway. Cup final in the North Stand, everybody's standing up. And the 2 seats to my left-hand side were still empty when I get into my seat, because I was nice and early, I was making sure I was organised. And a guy comes in, and I felt like he was maybe 70s, kind of stocky and what have you. And he comes right in, and I'm like, all right, he's wanting past. So I stood back. On you go, mate. On you go. You went past. But he never moved. I thought, oh, that's fine. He must be taking that seat right next to me on the left-hand side. So I let the gut hang back out and all that, and I started just looking at the park, seeing who was warming up and all that. And I could feel these eyes glaring at me. And if I turned back around, there's the same fella, and he's just looking at me, looking up at me, just like, I'm like, sorry mate, did you want past? Aye. And he's like raging. And I'm like, on you go. So I thought you said you were going to be, and he's just walking past me going, like, I've got your number. I'm like, what have I done? What have I done here? And it's kind of stuff that probably happens to you all the time at games. You don't even pay any attention, but it was really getting to me. I was starting to feel a bit persecuted. And then the boy who did take that seat, it was his seat. He comes in like maybe late 30s, early 40s, got a kind of bomber, barber jacket. Mate, I'm sorry if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast. Look, really nice guy, no harm at all. There was a woman standing right in front of me, and she had one of the bobble hats on. Lovely woman, nice crowd. People around me were lovely. They were really nice. And the women's got one of the bobble hats on, which they look great. Those kind of red, white and blue bobbles. And but they're an absolute nightmare if somebody's standing in front of you, because they're just so big you can't see past them. But I'm quite tall anyway, so she was a tall lady, but it wasn't really a problem to me. It's just part of the fun of the fair, getting in with the crowd, getting that feeling of being at the cup final. The boy on my left-hand side, he wasn't having any of that. He was going to get every bit of view that he had paid for with his North Stand ticket. He was wanting to see where the ball was going out exactly, and what the way the referee was pointing or the linesman was pointing. He was leaning back and forth. So he's bumped into me, and just stuff you don't usually notice. But it felt like it was, I don't know if it was the tea or the Mars bars or the 25 paracetamol that I'd had that morning, but it was just the League Cup. It was just Rangers in the League Cup in the recent history, and it wasn't going well on the park. It was going absolutely fine. I've watched the game back on telly. We had more of the ball. Aberdeen got, I think, 2 corners total the entire first half. But for me, Rangers were only 3-0 up. I couldn't take this. I couldn't go through this again. Why are you doing this to me, Rangers? So, see when we scored the goal, or we had the ball in the back of the net, Ross McCausland puts the ball in the back of the net towards the end of the first half. I hadn't seen Seaman going into the back of the guy. I hadn't heard the referee blowing his whistle. It was all taken care of very well, having watched it back in the television. But a lot of folk cheered. I just was like, there's no way that's a goal, because this is just all going horribly wrong. And at one point, I just exploded into a bunch of really infantile, horrible expletives, and the women's standing in front of me. That's terrible. But you don't want to be like sexists. The women's goes to football all the time, obviously. You don't want to be like, oh, sorry, dear. I've said a bad word. That's not kind of really patronising stuff. But at the same time, I'm sorry if you were there. It's just, I lost it. I couldn't take any more of Rangers in the League Cup. And see when we scored the goal, I had seen, I'm diametrically opposite. It's the diagonally across from me where Barisic puts the cross in. I couldn't even remember after the game that it was Barisic that had put the cross in. But I just, I watched it on television since, and he gives a shy to John Lundstrom, takes a lovely ball back, great touch to beat his man and just carve that bit of space by hitting the byline. But he doesn't hit the byline, doesn't go anywhere near the byline as such. Close. But it's a classic, a great ball he puts to the back post. Dessers gets up there and that lets Tav do the kind of hitch kick into the ground that gets the goal. But I just thought, that's gone out. That's probably gone out. There's going to be a VAR check. And what it was, there was 2 things going on. I knew that James Bisgrove, I met the guy once. I said hello to him on Sunday, and I'm obsessed. That's what happens. See, when you say you don't like somebody, are you denying that you actually kind of fancy them? But James Tavernier scoring the only goal of that final was the kind of fantasy of all my personal agendas about Rangers and the attitude towards them the way back since 2012, and the attitude towards James Tavernier. And it was so perfect that I felt he is going to score the only goal of the game. That's what's going to happen. And it just happened. And if that was true, that meant that I was going to have like 13 minutes of normal time, as well as the 10 minutes of injury time that was inevitable, to be really worried about Aberdeen equalising. Even though I thought that meant James Tavernier was going to score, but he was destined to score the only goal of the game. The reality, versus the fantasy, fighting with each other, I was just going to be tense as anything. I couldn't cope with the fact that it was going to be 20 minutes basically at 1-0. Aberdeen just needing one goal to ruin my life again. And also, I didn't want to think that, I didn't want to get ahead of the game when it came to celebrate, because I thought it was going to be a VAR check. I bet that ball went out. The camber of the pitch and all that. It's just where I'm standing. We can't see it right. And there's a boy behind me who was kind of in the same vibe as me in terms of things that were happening on the park, and we end up kind of talking to each other a wee bit. You know what it's like at these games. So when Rangers scored, he's like shaking my shoulder and like, oh yes, mate, yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm basically going, no, I think that's it. I think, no, I'm waiting for the VAR chat. I think that's it. I was almost trying to stop him celebrating and stop everybody else around about me celebrating. So everybody else is going nuts because the captain's just scored the winner. That they're fawing about each other, doing that thing that you do at the football. And it's when I'm watching the players getting put back, and they're each in their own half, and the ball getting respotted in the centre circle, and I'm watching the linesmen for their flags. I'm watching the referee. Is he going to his earpiece? Is he hearing anything? No. So everybody else has just started settling down for having, celebrated the goal, and they're getting ready, getting their breath back before they start singing the James Tavernier song. When the ref points to the spot to resume the game, that's when I know there's no VAR check. That's when I know it's a goal. And that's when I go, yeah, beauty, yeah. And everybody's going, what's up with this guy? Mate, just realising it's a goal. Are you here to support Rangers? What's your problem? I was all over the place. And when that final whistle went, I was in a bit of a state. And I carried that into some silly swearing and what have you in my post-match reaction pod. I would advise you guys to watch John and Stuart and Grant. They did a great pod on Sunday night, the flagship show on Sunday night, giving you proper sober reaction, no less emotional for it though, to Rangers winning their 28th League Cup. I mean, the paste won't even be dry, and the 27 having changed to 28 in that northwest corner of Ibrox on the outside above the old Rangers shop. They got the silhouettes of all the trophies, absolutely smashing it. They got that done. Are they going to have a flag raising thing? The banners that they've got and the island of the outside the main stand on Edmonston Drive, and there's one of them that says 27 League Cups. I think they should just get that ring fenced off with some crush barriers tonight, and have, I don't know, James Bisgrove perhaps should come out and do a wee ceremony of, taking down the 27 and, bringing up the 28, and we should all clap politely and then go in to cheer on Rangers to victory against St Johnstone. It's just been lovely. That balcony. The balcony in New Edmondson House, I thought that was just all about, you're going to have a cappuccino and a bit of chocolate shortbread, chocolate, maybe some carrot cake. Anyway, in the summertime, in the warm months for the cafe up the top floor, New Edmondson House, I had never thought about us showing the trophy there onto the Piazza della Copeland. It's absolutely, what a fantastic tradition, what a fantastic aesthetic that was. I wasn't there, I was still getting drunk in the south side on Sunday night when all that was happening, and I was getting shown, folk were, obviously you've got Twitter and that these days, and I've seen the photographs coming in for Ibrox. So the manager who's no interested in trophies, doesn't count trophies in his job anywhere managing a football club. It's all about how he can help players develop and what have you. Bullshit. I call bullshit. That guy, you could hardly get the trophy off Philip Clement on Sunday at Hampden or up in that podium, up in that balcony. It's like the balcony, St Peter's Square, and the St Peter's Palace. The Pope comes out there and just announces what's going on to the masses down below. Or like the Marienplatz, the Rathaus in Munich, where Bayern come out with their European trophies, or their Meisterschale or whatever, to show to the Bavarian masses there. It's a lovely I hope it's a tradition. I hope it's something we're going to be doing from now on. That's something we can get, because we kind of get an open top bus thing, So that was lovely. That was absolutely beautiful. And when I feel that amount of relief about what happened on Sunday, how can I ask the Rangers players to go out there and refocus? I'm so unused to feeling this chilled out. It's something I wanted for so long. All those horrible League Cup days are over, and I love the fact that it's 13 years, really, take it to the end of the season. That's how you calculate the League Cup, because it's played at different times of the season over the various seasons. But we didn't win it we won it in 47, then we won it in 48, 49 season. And then we didn't win it again until 61, 62 season. So 13 years. Now we've won it more times than anybody else by a mile. Even Al Ackley on Monday night going out of the Club World Championship, just so that, they're not going to get ahead of us in this eternal race we're having with Al Ackley, now thoroughly revived, of who's won most major trophies in the world. So even them getting out of that was just like a wee add-on, a wee bonus. It's just been lovely the past few days. And I love the fact that it's 13 years we didn't beat our record for not having won the League Cup. We won the league in 2021. That was 10 years since we'd won the top title. Now I remember, as for example, maybe there's more to this, we won the league in 1964, then Kilmarnock won it in 65, then Celtic went on 9 in a row, then we won it in 75. So we had been 11 years without winning the league before. So that wasn't, ever since 2012, things haven't been as bad as you would think they might be when the club had got demoted to the bottom league. The Scottish Cup, well, it famously went 25 years without winning the Scottish Cup. Was it 1928 we won it? That was the first time in a quarter of a century. It's a famous Rangers jinx in the World Cup, and that's why we're 6 or 7 behind Celtic in terms of Scottish Cups. But we'll start working away at that. That's the only major trophy that they've won, the only major Scottish trophy that they've won more often than us, although they've never won the Cup Winners' Cup. So, yeah. But we went 25 years without winning that, so going from 2009 it was to 2022, yeah, that was no problem either. Even European finals, it went 36 years between Barcelona and Manchester without a European final, and we went down to the bottom tier of Scottish football and come back in. We'd played in another European final in 2022 after 2008. It's just been, we've got back in so many ways. It's not quick enough for a lot of Rangers fans. In other ways, it's quicker than we could have expected. So the only thing we have to do now, I'm going to stop talking about 2012 as much because I don't have to. The only thing we need to do now is win multiples of trophies, win doubles and trebles and things like that. And hopefully, but we're starting towards that tonight where we're trying to get that league title back. I'm worried about this game tonight because of it's not a high we're coming off. It's just boom. It's a high we're coming off, but we don't have another high to go into. That's just disrespectful to St Johnstone, obviously a very decent opponent. But there's all that talk about how St Johnstone, remember those memes about St Johnstone, they won more trophies than you since 2012. A lot of folk thought, the old Rangers have died thing, they'd won more trophies than us, full stop. But they have won 3 trophies, but 2 Scottish Cups and a League Cup. We've now got the league titles in there. And that thing in 2021 where St Johnstone have won the League Cup and the Scottish Cup and you've only won the league. They've won 2 trophies, you've only won 1. Well, I've got a £5 and a £10 here. 2 banknotes that I'm quite willing to swap for your £150 note if that's how you see the world. It's St Johnstone, Craig Levine, an old warhorse of Scottish football, had a heart attack back in the 2010s. Craig Levine had to kind of calm himself down a bit. Could get very, I think it was a hereditary thing, not a heart attack like me who's too many pies and too many Mars bars. That's where my heart problems will come from when I eventually hit the deck. But Craig Levine got his diagnosed nice and early. Supposed to take things a bit easier, but he can't help himself. He's back in management. St Johnstone haven't got rid of Stephen McLean, who scored for them in that 2014 Scottish Cup final. They beat Dundee United, who beat us in the semi, and we were in the 3rd tier of Scottish football at that point in time. They beat us in the semi-final at Ibrox, remember, 3-2. That could have been us they were playing. At that point in time, I was just glad it was anybody other than Celtic that were winning major trophies. Stephen Anderson scored the first goal for St Johnstone in that game, and looking after the clan, that was the first Anderson to score in the Scottish Cup final since 1883, and he scored for Dumbarton against Villa Leaving Dumbarton, who we will be playing in the Scottish Cup next year. Our first rivals for the league title, first ever rivals Dumbarton, but we're dealing with our latest rivals. We have to get past Craig Levine, St Johnstone. When Steve McLean gets sacked, St Johnstone won their next game, I think. Was it against Kilmarnock? They won their very next game anyway since he was sacked at the end of October, and have won another 3 games under Levine there. I think 6 points from going into the top 6, maybe in 8th place just now, but only 2 points from the relegation places. So they've still got a long way to go before they're back to kind of safety and mid-table solidity, but they're definitely on the right way. I like the fact that they've won 2 and drawn 1 of the last 3 games. A bit like Aberdeen on Sunday. I don't like it when teams at the lower end of the league have been playing badly against everybody else, not getting a result, and then suddenly they're playing us, and it just takes them out of the rut that they're in. It's a nice change of tempo for them, and they can rise to the occasion because they've got nothing to lose. St Johnstone have been doing well, doing really respectably. 3 wins under Levine, and they beat Hibs on Saturday. They're a team full of players you've never heard of, and also a lot of players that you thought had retired. Nicky Clark, Considine, they're still, on the subs bench or whatever, so they're really dangerous. We've got to watch ourselves But one thing I'll have to a big shout out again to Simon B, who's a man who gets in touch with us on the YouTube comment section under these videos. He gave us a great stat a few weeks ago about Rangers in Europe, and it's these kind of stats he's given us. It's like a good poem. It's stuff that you've experienced, but you'd never been able to articulate. And I didn't realise until he told me this, that Rangers have gone 22 games, 22 league games in the month of December. Since not this month, but this December's. Rangers playing league games in December. It's 22 games since we not only lost, but dropped any points. I was talking to Craig about that, the game where we were 2-0 up in Aberdeen at Pittodrie, around about the festive period, and ended up drawing the game 2 each. Ryan Jack scored, and it was Scott Arfield got the other one, and it was longer ago than I realised, but it turns out that's the last time we'd failed to win a league game in the month of December. So that's quite incredible. Double check it yourself. I've looked at it and it seems absolutely spot on, but it's mind-blowing. Considering we've got to play Celtic this month as well at Parkhead, it's maybe going to be tested before that, but if we were to win tonight and then we would go into the game at Fir Park on Christmas Eve in 2023, we would be going for 24 games or 25 games unbeaten in December on the 24th. I think it's quite incredible, the run that we're on in December, so we should be optimistic in that way. The manager, team-wise, there's no new players coming back. Clement saying no new players coming back from the last from Sunday's squad. So Cantwell still available. Had a game, had a rest while everybody else was away in Seville. So hopefully he's still got enough energy in the legs. Wet pitch on Sunday, really draining, really emotional. Winning big games, having big moments of positivity can be just as draining as having setbacks in football. So this is a real task tonight. But hopefully the feel-good factor, the fans can carry that on and create the kind of atmosphere that lets Rangers just go out and stay in the groove. I would imagine the likes of maybe going to have Rabbi Matondo coming in tonight. Seema must need a break. He must need a break. Even maybe these guys will play the first half. If we can get any kind of advantage, then bring on the substitutes. But Craig Levine knows what he's doing. He's known to cause hysteria. He was giving it the old firm should go to England comment the other day, which the material effect of which is the same as when Rangers and Celtic fans. But I've said to people before, Rangers and Celtic should really move to England, and you get Kilmarnock and St Johnstone fans telling you, the arrogance of the old firm. But if they're telling us to F off to England, then that's absolutely fine. So Craig Levine, he's not doing that thing now where he's hysterically accusing Mike McCurry of cheating if he gives Rangers any kind of decision, but he's just doing it more low-key as a man who's looking after his ticker, getting things stirred up. But I'm just looking forward. This is the dangerous thing. Counterintuitively, I can't help myself. I'm just looking forward to going to see Rangers tonight because we've got the League Cup in the bag. But don't you be thinking about that. Just you be focusing on the fact it's a league game, because I certainly can't. As I say, check out John, Stuart and Grant's Sunday night flagship show. It's the video before this on our YouTube channel. Towards the end of that, they do a great review of the League Cup final, what it means for us, but towards the end of that, they do a little preview of tonight's game, much better than the one I've just given you, and Gersnet will be back with some post-match reaction after full time tonight, when there'll be no more chat of the League Cup. It's all business now.